Hello, welcome once again. Myself MP Mishra, Faculty School of Computer and Information Sciences. I am with you in this session on a very important topic, that is software. In this session I will try to introduce you about the concept of software and different softwares available and we use in our day-to-day activity while we are using computer or sometime mobile also. So as we know, computer is consisting of hardware and software, and a computer perform only those activities which we provide in the form of certain instruction to the computer system. So our hardware devices are totally depend on the instructions or the software code on which they have to work on or they have to perform some operation. So those code of the program which a computer execute can be seen as a simple software, or a very simple definition of software can be seen as some set of code of instructions or some instruction given to the computer system which it can understand and perform the operation as per our specific requirement. Now if we think little bit about how actually a software is going to help us, so we can say that basically software enable computer to perform some type of specific task with the help of its hardwares, and that computer program, which is nothing but a set of instruction which takes different kind of instructions inside it, and all those instructions are written in such a way that by execution of those instructions a specific type of operation can be performed, can be said is a program. Now if we are having, let us say, a very specific need to solve some specific kind of problem. For example, if a normal student is learning computer programming and it is said that just you write a program to add two numbers. So for adding two numbers there will be different requirement of the system, and we have to provide that requirement in the form of code so that our computer system can understand it and perform the operation. What will be those code? It will be that there will be some data which will be read, so it means some instruction will be there for the reading of the data. Then there will be some instruction to perform operation on that data, that if there are two numbers, let us say, so to add those two numbers, then some result will come and that result will be stored. So it is a very simple program, and once that particular set of instruction is written and ready to execute and it is provided to the computer system for execution, then we can say our program is ready and it is ready to provide us solution. Now I talked about a very simple program or simple problem which can be solved by writing a program. Now you think about a very large system in which you are performing different kind of operation. For example, again we can take, if on a shop we are going and we are seeing that the bill is generated with the help of computer system, then that particular application will be having hundreds of instructions written inside that, and those instructions will be performing different kind of operation specific to that particular store management or for that particular shop management. Similarly, for any other different kind of application what we see around us, for example billing, payment, or maybe the some more complex applications like railway reservation system, online banking, or sometime simple mobile payment wallets, e-payment wallets which we generally use for the purpose of different kind of transaction. So those all are different applications which are supposed to perform different kind of activities, and those all things can be seen as a software. It means as per our specific requirements there are n number of softwares available, or there are enormous number of software available which help us to perform different kind of operation. Now as we have already discussed in our previous week that whenever we are going to perform some operation, our software is first loaded or stored in our secondary device like in hard disk, and as per the specific need it is loaded from the hard disk to our main memory and execution is performed, and then finally result is stored either in the hard disk or it is provided in the form of output to the some output devices. So in that way, to run a good program, as we have discussed, we should have a sufficient size of RAM so that our system can run easily, or our software can perform to its optimum level. And generally we face some problem when we are not having sufficient size of memory, especially when we are running some large software, or the software of the larger size, which is having a large number of code as well as very large volume of data which to be processed. And one example of that can be seen as a multimedia applications. When we are just simply playing one audio file, then obviously the content in that particular audio file is less, and the size of that particular application is less, and the input provided for running that application is also less. But if we are going to run a video, so a video content will be much more larger, because it will be having voice content as well as it will be having the image content, and that particular image continuously moving. There are thousands number of frames which are moving in the processing in the specific duration of the time. So those all things make that particular application heavy, and to run that heavy application you need more sophisticated device, and you sometimes need different kind of memory also that you have already exposed to, like if you are having some specific memory for the purpose of multimedia application itself. So once the software is loaded in the computer, it is ready to run, and we can enjoy the application, and we can run that particular application, and we can get the result as per specific design and as per the input provided. Now, if we talk about software in terms of the code understanding by the computer, so we have to think about that whether anything which we are writing or any program which is written in any specific programming language directly goes to computer and get executed, or there is some mechanism to manage that particular, to make it understandable format or form of the computer. So obviously this question should come in our mind, and answer to this question is that a computer understands only machine level language code, that is the binary code 0 and 1. But the programs which are generally written, they are written in some normal English like language. That languages are known as high level languages. So whatsoever we write in the high level language, that should be converted into the machine language. For that, different kind of softwares are used, and those softwares are known as converter, sometimes compiler, interpreter, specific names are given, and their job is to convert the high level code into machine level code which machine can execute. Now if we have to little bit think about the software and hardware together, then how we can visualize these two things parallelly? We can visualize that hardware is something which is physically existing, which we can see, which we can touch and have a feel, which we are decomposing one specific hardware, some other hardware we need to attach to the computer system for perform the operation. For example, if a keyboard is there, if that keyboard is not working, we have to replace that particular keyboard and perform the operation. But what about software? Software is not something which you can touch and which you can see physically. Software is something which is a logical entity, and logical entity means it is written in the soft form, and that particular is stored in the storage device or in the memory in the soft form. And one more advantage of this particular logical entity is that once a software is developed, that particular software can be distributed to multiple users. It is not the case with the hardware. If we are having one CPU, that CPU will be remaining with you, and you cannot share with another user, or for that you need multiple hardwares. But in the software case, once you create a software, you can create multiple copy of that software by just copying that particular and creating multiple copy, and that can be distributed, and multiple user can use simultaneously at their own end, independently, or in the different kind of sharing mechanism whatsoever is designed. On the basis of that, it can be used and shared and distributed. So this is one of the better utilization of the software. That is why once a software is developed, that particular can be used by anybody. For example, there are many software which you see, many applications you are having on your device, and that particular is running on your, let us say, on a smartphone. So that particular application is already available in that particular application provider, like some Play Store or somewhere, and from there you are downloading that particular. So that can be downloaded by multiple number of people. You don't need to provide a independent separate copy to different people. That we have to understand. So software is a such kind of entity which can be distributed. Further, if we talk about the classification of the software, because for understanding software, we have to understand that software are of different types. When I am saying different types, it means that softwares are designed to perform different activities, and that activity may be categorized. One activity may be controlling the overall system performance or system activities, controlling the operations of different devices attached to the system, and next may be to be used for solving the specific kind of problem. For example, again I will mention that, let us say in a shop, if there is a software that is generating the automatically bill, so that particular software is designed for performing that specific kind of problem. Similarly, when you visit in your bank, you see that there are specific softwares developed for managing the banking application, or they are providing different kind of solution to different customers, and that software is being used by multiple users simultaneously. So application software, many more application software you can visualize here, like railway reservation system. In that there are multiple user registers. If they are having their credential, and through that credential means the kind of identification, login and password, through that they are entering into system and they are performing the operation. It means very large amount of data is ready to be shared by multiple users simultaneously. So you see, railway reservation system, if you try to visualize in terms of a software application, you will come to know that it is a very complex system and it is having very large amount of data which is being managed by that particular system. Maybe the millions of users are there. If specifically you talk about the railway reservation system of the Indian government, IRCTC. So in that, millions users are there. There are thousands number of trains which are registered in that. There are again thousands number of stations through which those different trains goes. Now as a specific user, you are willing to go from one source to another destination from one specific train. So identifying that particular specific list is a very big task. Identifying the availability of seat is also a very big task. Once again, there are several other criteria like the seat availability, different kind of concession or reservation, and maybe different type of ticketing, whether you are going to book normal ticket or some maybe the Tatkal ticket or something like that. So you think about that system, it is having a very large complexity inherited in it. So it is a very large complex system. Similarly, if you talk about the online shopping system, that also you can visualize that particular is a software, and that generally many of us are using day to day purpose. So that also can be seen as a very complex software system, in that you are having thousands of product available. From that thousands of product, you are interested in one type of product, maybe one type of product you are selecting, then you are having different manufacturer of that particular product, or different companies or vendors are manufacturing, maybe different distributor are providing the same product. From there again you are filtering and you are choosing only one item which you are interested to purchase. So now you see that there is a large number of activities which are happening, and that particular is providing you the solution. Now writing code for whole things is obviously a very challenging task, and the people who are willing to make career in the field of the computer science, especially the software developer or application developer, they enjoy this particular challenge, or they are having a kind of bent of mind that make them this particular activity more enjoyable. So once you are exploring possibility to learn computer science or use computer applications, then you have to think about that there is a very large system, complex system, robust system, reliable system, and secure system is working, that particular is providing you the facility. I make use of some little big terms in terms of the computer science study, that is like reliability, security, robust, and these all things, but these all are the inherited or basic required feature of the software applications, so that the user who is using that particular applications get better quality of the service when they are using that particular application. As you know, quality of service is very important because user satisfaction is the key of any business. So this software development process or software development activities also need a lot of effort to make the system in such a way that meet the requirement of the user or meet the specific functionalities for which that particular application is going to be developed. Now let me little bit divert from this generic discussion to very specific one, that is the type of software. So type of software can be seen basically in three categories. One is the system software, another is the programming software or programming software environment, and third can be seen as a application software. Now what is system software? System softwares are those softwares which are responsible for managing the system. For example, operating system, compiler, interpreter, assembler. For operating system, in one video you will be getting opportunity to learn little more in the coming session, and similarly for application software also you will be having one specific session, and in that different kind of application softwares which are generally being used nowadays, that will be exposed and you will be getting awareness about that. So application software, then programming software. As I discussed that there are different kind of requirement for the specific application, so there are different programming languages available, they are used for the development of different application software. Here it means that programming languages are the tool or capability by using that we write the code and we develop the program. Some example of the programming languages may be the C programming language, C++ programming language, Java, C#, Python, JavaScript, and for handling the database, SQL is also, that is structured query language for managing the database or the data which is generated or which is being used for that particular software application is used. Now if once again we look into application software, then we can visualize that we cannot count as on date that how many application softwares are available worldwide. It is uncountable, or very large number of the softwares are available for the different kind of specific application purposes. Now there may be further two category in the application software, that is, one is the general purpose application like office management suite or some specific multimedia applications like in which you run your audio video files, and similarly you see thousands of mobile apps are available for the different purposes. But in addition to all these, the specific organizations which are automating their system or they are having automated system, in that they are having their own ERP, that is enterprise resource planning system. Those are the very complex and large softwares which are used for the managing the different activities of that organization. Those activities may be their staff management, the profile of the staff management, maybe their different kind of other activities record management, maybe their leave management, maybe their salary management, many more things which a organization need to manage. Those all things can be managed by the specific application software developed for that particular organization. Similarly, many other organizations may have their own specific requirement for the maybe some tools management. For example, if some industry is working on some specific tools or devices, to manage that particular device and tool, some application software is developed. For example, again we can take the example of the healthcare system, in that X-ray machine is there and managing for the X-ray activities a computer software is developed that is managing, and many more health application you can see, many more other applications like you can see in educational sector or in the field of education. If online system is there, in that how many things are there and how those things are being provided. These all things are the different kind of softwares which are available and which are being used. So these may be the specific purpose software and as well as general purpose software as per the specific requirement or generic requirement of the some software development companies which are in the market and they are selling those softwares to the customers to use them. One more thing here I would like to touch, that we talk about the problem in the computer system. So we can see the problem in two aspects. One is the software problem. If we are talking about the software problem, so then there may be a possibility that some code is corrupt or some code is not working properly. But whenever we are talking about some kind of error or hardware problem, then there is a problem in our hardware devices. And one more thing here I would like to mention, that here you have to clearly understand that for running different kind of software, the need of the hardware capability may vary. If you are having very large software, then it may be that you are having a server or very high-end computer machine that is being used for the loading of the software and loading of the different kind of data available in that, and through different kind of web-enabled interfaces, different users are performing on that. For example, again I will take the example of the shopping system in which you do online shopping. So you can think about that particular system. It is having maybe several number of servers are available, and on those servers different kind of code and data is stored, and as a user you are accessing through one interface, that is your graphical user interface, or through some web enabled interface. From there you are interacting and your processing is happening to the back end through network on the various server available at the back side. So hardware and software goes together, and in combination only you can visualize the utilization of a computer system. And some additional category of software also can be seen, that some softwares are known as middleware, and those middleware softwares are nothing but the program which work between the application software and the system software. And similarly some utility software, and these utility softwares are the small programs and they are very useful for specific purposes and in their limited capacity. For example, some utility for the operating system, like some device you are connecting to your computer, then you need a device driver. So device driver is one example of the utility software. Similarly, for the security purpose, we use different kind of utilities like the scanners or the antivirus softwares. So those all disk management and antivirus softwares are utility software. Similarly, many more peripheral devices, like if you are attaching a printer, for that printer running also you need a utility software that may work between the device controller as well as the operating system, and your device may perform properly. Now one more question arises, that whenever we are going to purchase a software, then what are the different sources through which we purchase the software, or what are the different kind of availability of the software in terms of licensing of the software or availability of the software and cost of the software. So some softwares are known as shareware, and those softwares are generally freely available and they are provided to the users for some specific duration of the time, and they use that particular, and after that maybe a specific duration of the time the organization withdraw that freeware and they launch their licensed software, and then the user have to purchase that particular. Basically the beta version or some kind of testing stage softwares are generally made as shareware to perform some kind of operation and to get the feedback on that particular application. Similarly, lightware, some specific simple softwares for the purpose of different kind of utilities. As you generally use different kind of mobile apps, they are a kind of lightware. Freeware are those softwares which are copyright free and they can be downloaded and they don't cost you, just you can use. For example, many government developed softwares can be seen as freeware softwares, and they are very commonly used and they are very useful for the purpose of the social service. Open source softwares, as far as development of the whole software applications is concerned, there are some social activities also take place in this particular social structure of the software industry, where some social group develop some software and they make the code of that particular software also free, so that other people also may use that software as well as may contribute into the enhancement of the existing functionality of the software. It means if software is provided to you, you can use it, as well as code is also available. So you can alter the code, as well as you can add some more functionality to the code, and you can submit that particular to the centralized repository so that other people also can use it. So it is a kind of social activity. Proprietary software, this is one of the most important category of the software where different companies or the software organizations develop software for their business purposes, and they sell that particular software for the specific people who need that particular software to use. And if we talk about the properties of the application software, then we can say that application softwares are the general purpose softwares, and they use for the general need of the people, and they are more closer towards user. Easy to design because you actually know that what you need specifically, and as per your specific need it can be developed, and they are slower compared to the system software because they are generally developed in the high level programming language. And nowadays generally majority of the application softwares are having interactive feature or better usability feature because they provide very good GUI interface, that is the very good graphical user interface to the user to perform the requirement, and they are bigger in size, and that's why they need large number of storage space in the hard disk, and also when they are going to run in the memory, they need large amount of space there also. Before we conclude this session, if we talk about the basic quality of the software which we generally look, that can be seen in two ways or two aspects associated with the quality management. One is the functional requirement of the software, for example, how actually that particular software is going to function, what kind of different kind of data is going to be provided for that, what kind of processing code or instructions are needed so that the specific functionalities can be made. And second is the non-functional qualities. Non-functional qualities basically talk about that for what purpose that particular application has been developed, whether it is properly usable or not, it is having good usability, it is having portability or not. It means that on any application or on any specific machine it will run, or it will run on any operating system. That is also one of the context in which the softwares are developed. Some software systems or application software run on some specific systems only, and there are some application software which can run on any operating system. So those all things, how secure that particular application software is. So whenever you as a user using the specific software, you should try to see those aspects also, that if I am using that particular application software, how secure it is. Specifically in the case of the software which we generally use, like different kind of utilities which we generally download from the different kind of app providers on our smartphones. Once again I mention that whenever I am referring smartphones I am considering as a computer, because it is having those capabilities and it is providing us facility to work on it as a computer. So here in this session I conclude, and in next session again we will meet with some new topic. Thank you.